Today we're taking Nomad Sculpt to the next level with a little bit of help from AI. I'm going to show you how to use AI to generate your own custom textures for stone, metal, leather, and scales. Whatever you could imagine. Today I'm showing you how to use AI to generate your own custom textures for your 3D models. This is one I did of stone on a cosplay axe. I'm also going to show you how to import those textures into Nomad Sculpt and apply them to that model for that realistic hand-finished look. If you ever wanted your 3D models to pop with detail, this is the tutorial you've been waiting for. So let's dive in. So I went in ChatGPT and I asked it to create a stone pattern that could be used as a texture in Nomad Sculpt, make the stone look like flint. So it did make a stone texture, which was flint-like, but it was little pieces of flint. So I wanted it to be a little more cohesive. So I asked it if you could make it look like one large piece of flint. And then it came back with something I really liked. So I saved my image to my local machine. Then I repeated the process, saying, okay, let's make a new texture. How about leather that would be used on the handle of an ancient medieval weapon? And same thing, it created leather, but it looked a little too new to me. So I asked it to make it more worn and have larger, deeper cracks. And it did, and it came out with something I was pretty happy with. And then I just moved on to having it make metal. And I told it should be worn and have age to it, which it did. It made it very pockmarked. And then I had it create a dragon silk pattern that could be used as a texture in Nomad Sculpt. The biggest thing here was letting chat know what the pattern was being used for, a texture in Nomad Sculpt. Now I just saved off all these images to my computer and let's get them imported into Nomad Sculpt. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to import our textures. So we're going to click over here. We're going to hit import. We're going to hit files. And we're going to grab all of our textures. Now, if we scroll down, we will see all of our textures are here. Okay, so we have our leather, our flint, our metal. That's another flint we made for our axe, and that's our scales. So we opened up this flail we created previously, and we're going to start adding some of the textures to it. Now, there are two ways you could do it. We could do it using the brush tool, and if we click here, we could see our alpha. We're at the leather, and we just sit here and switch it. Here's the metal, here is our scale, and here is our stone. This is the stone we used on our previous axe, which was a really cool flint stone also. Now the other thing we do is we could adjust the fall off, okay? So where this is going to make a thing more intense or less intense. So you could mess around with how you want your fall off to be. Right now I'm just going to leave it at the preset, but you could sit there and you can modify all of this. And that will help you get a better understanding of what you want your texture to be like. And there's also a whole bunch of other filters that you could do, as well as even messing with the amount of pressure that is coming from your brushing it on or you're stamping it on. So that's in the brush from your brushing it on. You'd also use the stamp tool. You know, let's voxel remesh this and make this a little higher. Here we go. We can stamp our leather onto here, and you can see that pattern is looking really, really nice, right? And we want to run it all up the handle because the handle does have a nice leather texture to it. So now our piece is starting to really come to life. Now let's select these torses, which are basically our chain. Let me get all of them. And let's stamp them with our metal stamp. So we're going to go in here. We're going to click on alpha. We're going to click on our metal. And we're going to go in and we're going to start. Oh, I need to validate them. They're probably all not validated. Okay, Looks like, okay, so it looks like everything's validated. So we're going to once again click on our stamp. We're going to go in here. And we're going to start. This is voxel remesh. Let's just bring the resolution up. Usually like in the 400s works pretty well. And we're just going to start stamping our metal on here. And you're starting to see we're getting our nice metal pattern. We're starting to see those chains are starting to look a little bit like metal, right? They're starting to have that effect of metal to them, which they're looking really nice. So let me just get all of them done really quick. So we got the metal here. We got our leather texture here. And we still have our dragon scale and our flint. I think I'm going to do dragon scale on these pieces, and maybe we'll do the D20 out of the flint. Let's now select this piece. We need to validate it. Let's just update the resolution a little more and remesh that. Okay. Now we're going to add our dragon scales. So now we see our dragon scales on there. Now it has a totally different texture. And let's just do the same thing with this one. Let's validate it. So now we have our nice little dragon scale pattern, our leather pattern, and our iron pattern. Next, we're going to do our D20. We're going to go in and we're going to grab our flint. We have our D20. Let's just voxel remesh this. Make it a little bit higher resolution. And now we could take either our brush and brush this on. So we see there, we're starting to get our stone texture. Or once again, we could take our stamp and we could stamp it on. I personally like using the stamp over the brush, but some people prefer the brush over it. I think in our last video where we did the elephant statue, we used the brush. So now you're starting to see, you're starting to get this really cool stone pattern over the D20. Now we have our chain looking like metal, our D20 looking like it's made of stone, the bottom of our handle looking like some dragon scales, and our handle looking like leather, giving our really cool little D&D D20 flail a little bit of realistic texture to it, so it looks a little more realistic versus our previous one, our old one, and compare the two. So you see here, one has a lot more texture on it than the other, and it looks a little more realistic. And you can intensify those textures. You could make them look like anything you want, but you see this is a pretty good comparison into what textures do for the actual model, making it look more realistic. And that's how you use AI to create custom textures that you're going to use in Nomad Sculpt. And once you have your 3D texture saved, you can really import it into any 3D modeling software you're using. And leave a comment below with the texture you're going to make. For more on 3D printing, DIY, and maker projects, make sure you like and follow Maker Build It. And remember, keep on making. And remember, tools don't make the artist, inspiration does. Every idea you bring to life starts with a little spark, so go make something incredible.